right.
How's it going? It's been a while.
It has been a while. We took a little break, didn't we?
2-3 weeks.
I
Half
think
a month.
so, yeah.
Month and a half.
Half a
something
month.
like
It
that.
was needed.
Yeah.
It's been hot, man, and I just didn't have the energy, and it's hot.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that again. It's really hot.
Uh-huh.
I don't like it.
You don't have to.
I know. But you're going to say that you like it, aren't you?
I mean, well, like, yeah. I
You're a
mean,
grumpy old man.
that's wouldn't that make me like
The grumpiest old man?
no,
Yes,
the
you're right.
opposite of grumpy. What is that? Happy?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You're like...
because,
No, I think you're still grumpy.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
sorry about that.
it is hot.
It
It is
is.
humid. No, but it's breaking because the fall is sadly on the
Oh,
cusp.
do we have to say sadly?
Sadly.
Okay, sadly for some of us. All right. Yeah, actually, if there's anything that I'm most, not only am I sick of the heat, I'm really sick of the Jeju government sending out 20 text messages a day.
Yeah.
About heat wave.
Yeah.
We get it. Thank you. Thank you. 감사합니다. I appreciate the text messages. I do. But I'm kind of done.
It's a
being
lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Most people turn it off, but I keep it on for the COVID news, of course. I
mean, I like
It's a
having it on
lot.
because it is like sometimes there are important messages.
well, there
right?
was that missing child that was
Yeah.
found. So I mean, there are, of course, same. I keep it on, but we do we need 10 messages a day telling us that it's hot outside?
Interrupts my YouTube videos when I'm watching. PP stops everything.
For me, it just reminds me of how uncomfortable in the heat I am. So I mean, we just don't need it.
It's kind of neat though, being in a room full of people and everybody's phones go off all at the same time. Kind of, it's like I've been in newsrooms.
I was like,
I've been in
okay.
newsrooms where that has happened when it's not the government, when it's
Right.
like something
When it's something
happening,
and you're-
and
it's
like,
that
and
rush of
everybody
excitement.
jumps to it, right?
So it's a little different though when you're getting.
When I literally
Yeah.
when that happens, I go ding, I check, and it's like,
Oh,
okay.
thanks again.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for
Again.
reminding me that I'm useless nowadays. That I don't get messages like that.
That I have
anymore.
no energy to do anything. Thank you, Jeju.
Yeah. So we did take a break, which was
Yeah.
really, really useful. It's a
It
lot of work,
was.
but thank you for waiting for us to,
Yes.
come back
Thanks
with
for your
episode number
patience.
12.
Yeah. Oh, are we on episode 12?
We are indeed. We are indeed.
We're doing it.
We're hustling.
We're doing it.
This is what the
I
kids
didn't-
say, right?
Yep.
Hustling.
Oh.
My kid doesn't. She's 2. So.
Yeah, and also I'm a little. I don't know what kids are saying these days, but I'm guessing I said hustling, so I'm guessing they're not.
So have you noticed any differences in the break that we had? What was Jeju like? Anything interesting and going on? Anything that you did see?
I feel like this is a leading question for me to complain about the tourists.
Yeah. No, please
Is
go
this a
ahead.
leading-
Sure.
No, I'm gonna keep it limited. I don't
Okay.
need to be always so negative about the tourists. Yeah, it's summertime, so everybody, their mother and their father are on Jeju.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot. It's a lot.
Unbelievable. It's the craziest. It's the craziest I've ever seen it. Like, even driving through, like, not even going onto the beach, but driving through the beach towns. It's something. It's something.
It's a lot of domestic tourists, right? Which is really what it is. It's a lot of
That's
people from
all
the
it
mainland
is.
because
Exactly.
nobody can go anywhere else. We probably have already talked about this before.
Probably
but
mentioned it.
last month in July was the 4th consecutive month of hitting more than 1 million domestic tourists coming to Jeju, right?
But this is
the
not
pandemic.
so shocking. Yeah,
No.
but and I want to explain, like, to the listeners out. So this is not shocking for Jeju. We're a very popular island, but it is shocking that it's domestic only.
Yeah, yeah.
That's where the surprise comes from. And like you just mentioned, in a pandemic.
Yeah, in a pandemic.
God bless it. Stay home.
Have you noticed there's a lot of articles online from the Korean newspapers talking about taking like trips to Jeju during the
Yes,
pandemic.
yes.
Like it's become
It's like
an
they're
industry.
advertising for
it's-
it. Yes,
it's-
agreed.
Some of them are probably
Yeah.
advertorials, right? But
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
the average is 35,000 people come to the island a day on average, which is a lot of people.
So much for an island. I mean, in Korea,
Right.
not other islands, but yes, here.
But the biggest problem is like yesterday was like they broke COVID cases on Korea, right? So more than
Yes.
2,200 people got
Right.
COVID cases, but yet we're
Right.
still doing this, and because
Because
what else? Like, it's hard. It's really, really hard. So I sympathize with all of them. But at the same time, I am actually getting more worried than I've ever been.
agreed. I also
really?
no. I was real worried in the beginning because there was not so much, and when our numbers were quite high back in the day. But you know what I mean?
Couple
Like,
months back, yeah.
No. I mean, like a year. How long have we been in this pandemic?
It's been
now?
over 18 months.
Jesus. Anyways, yeah, it's been a while. So I remember being a little bit more concerned, and I had this staying home. Then I had this like Jeju was more relaxed, and I was like, good, we live on an island, we can still live our lives. So that was really fun. And then now I'm back to like, yeah, I probably don't need to go to bars and like a lot. Back home again. So
The thing that I don't feel like when I go out, when I go to the beach, when I do these things, I don't feel like there are restrictions in place. It doesn't seem like it, even though you're not supposed to be in groups of more than six people. I think it is
Four
people now.
Four.
And I just don't notice. I think people are fed up. And they aren't
100%,
abiding by it, right?
100%.
And like bars are supposed to be closed at 10 p.m.
Right.
But like, I believe it was last month there was 12 bars that were found to have violated those rules,
that seems,
right?
I'm sure.
at least
Only 12 out of
caught.
So yeah, caught. So yeah.
Caught. But like I said, I don't notice any of these of these rules being followed, really.
Oh, that's it.
Not any of them.
Yeah.
I'm being a little bit facetious, but I meant like more like the 4 people gathering thing, right? And going to the beaches.
I'm super aware of that. I don't know, but I can't speak for everyone. But do I think people are tired? Absolutely. And I think one of the hard things is people are tired, and yet we're just seeing an increase in numbers.
Yeah.
So I think this is where people are just like, yeah, So I don't know.
Well, because of the boom, like there's a new airline that opened up like this week.
What?
Yeah, it's called Air
Premia,
and it just opened up, and now it's flying from Seoul. Another airplane that's flying from Seoul to Jeju because there's demand for it.
I'm breathing. I think my biggest complaint is if you're going to, two things is I talked about this a little bit on social media, but I have many friends that are owners of service industry things, bars, restaurants, cafes, like that sort of thing. These private owners are not making money. They're not recouping any losses. They're not I can't say the only, and I also don't want to speak broadly, but my friends are not making money. They're opening at 7, they're closing at 10. What else can they do? It's a bar, it's a this and this. But the people that are making money are the major airlines and the big hotels. And I think they're driving this. And so for me, when you say there's another airplane coming down, that just roar.
Right.
Roar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since like if
they're not testing anybody coming on this island. They're just like free entrance. Come on in.
Of course, because they're domestic, right? Like you wouldn't.
Well, in my opinion, they should. But anyways, that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah. But I mean, we just hope.
What's it called again? Air Premium?
Air
Premium?
Premium.
Who owns it?
I didn't actually check that up.
Yeah,
I think
we should.
Yeah,
I want somebody must own it.
Somebody's got to own it.
Some big corporation owns that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, but it is noticeable all the tourists that are here, and there are accidents. There's lots of accidents.
So many cars. There's so much car stupidity.
You haven't had any specific situations with any?
I'm sure I have. And here's my goal from taking this little vacation from the podcast. I'm gonna try to come back and not be like,
Yeah.
Like,
I can't prod you into.
You probably can, and if you do, I'm just going to go off on a tangent because it's all bottling up now. Yeah. But let's leave it alone.
Yeah, because it also like the issue of us who are not natives from here.
Yes,
getting upset with one of the main.
But my Korean, I mean, what about your wife? My Korean friends are also like they notice, they're worried about it. They're I don't know.
Well, yeah.
And my Korean friends are the owners of who I'm talking about. They're not feeling it.
I know an owner of a GS25, and business has not been as good, and it hasn't been good since the pandemic hit.
Which is a little bit strange because a little bit strange because I do feel like if anything, what is growing is the takeout booze. So I have a couple girlfriends that opened a bottle shop in Shinjeju, and so they also own a cafe in Hyopjae.
Right.
And if one isn't doing well, they can count on the wine and the beer selling. So I'm a little surprised that the GS25 isn't.
Yeah, no,
the GS25 in Jungmoon.
GS25 in Jungmoon.
So okay.
And I think that's about good enough segue for us to get to a Jeju
Dialect. I'm super stoked. I'm really excited. Our friend Juju has agreed to do this. Like, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
This will be our second one.
This will be our second one.
Yeah.
And we should go there quickly.
Okay, let's do it.
Quickly. Jeju hapsa.
Why do you have such a good memory for this? And why do I have such a bad memory for this?
I go around town saying these words. Jeju hapsa. I say it to my daughter. I say it to my daughter in front of people that I know are Jeju Domin. So they're like, look at that guy.
All right. Well, I need to set my game up.
Yeah.
And now let's head on over.
ladies and gentlemen, without further ado,
You get so
it is time. It's
serious
super
stuff.
serious,
super,
everybody.
is it? Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the ever important Jeju Dialect Corner with our gracious teacher, Ju Young Han. Thank you very much for being back here and deciding to school us in the wonders that is Jeju Satori.
Oh, thank you for having me again.
We're
I'm
so
really excited.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think we need to find a way to do fake applause?
Well, I can put it in right here. No,
There
that's
it
not
is. Thanks,
fake.
Juju.
That's
Thanks,
not
Juju.
That's
All right,
real.
well, anyways, we're doing
That's
it.
real. No, you can, but I have the abilities to put in applause. But
Anyways, what you got for us this week?
Yeah.
Today, I was thinking what to teach you guys, and I thought, maybe you guys, like most of the foreign people, expats here, teach English, right? So it might be useful to teach you guys like how to say be quiet. Everyone be quiet.
That's awesome.
Yeah, all in Jeju dialect.
Oh, this is awesome. Now, before we even start, I need to ask you this quick question. Is this the polite way to say it, or is this sort of like a shut up?
It's kind of, it's imperative.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm already happy about this. All right.
So you would say it sternly with a stern face. You wouldn't be like, I wouldn't tell my
wouldn't be
2-year-old
joking.
daughter like, oh, be quiet a little bit out in the middle of the street or something like that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, I like it.
Okay, so
All right, hit us.
with it.
Yeah, repeat after me. Mondak
Mundak
soksum.
soksun.
You go.
Mundak soksun.
Mon.
Moon.
Mon.
Mon.
Moon.
Yes. Tak.
Tak.
Dak.
Mondak.
Moondak. I find
Mondak.
if I speak fast, it's
Moondak.
better.
It's mondak.
Mundak.
Mon.
Mon. What are we doing wrong here?
Is it like MUN or
No,
MON?
M-O-N.
Mon.
Okay.
O is it?
Okay.
It's O.
Mondak.
Mondak.
Mundak.
Okay.
Mondak.
Mundak.
Soksum.
Soksun. Sum
Yeah,
or sun?
soksum.
Sum. Soksum. Ah,
Yes.
mundak
Oh,
soksum.
that's great.
Oh.
Yeah,
Thank
mondak
you very much.
soksum.
You got a compliment from
Pop
the
my collar.
teacher.
Yeah,
Show
there you
off.
go.
Show off.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm not.
nice.
Now I'm not gonna go.
So, mundak soksum is like there's no ending to it. Like what? Let's talk about the Jeju Satori about it. Like what is Jeju Satori about
Okay.
this term?
It's the whole thing is a Jeju dialect expression. So like mondak means every something. So it can be everyone or everything.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Like amudo absayo, something like that. Not the same mom, amo,
It's modu.
modu.
All. It's
Ah.
all of something.
Ah.
Or every
That's really
something.
cool.
Yeah.
Modu.
So the mundak is the everything portion.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So mondak means everything. So here it's everyone, right?
Okay.
And soksum means be quiet.
Oh.
Soksum, be quiet. Uh-huh.
And that also is just Jeju? Soksun?
Yes.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Do you think most children will recognize it at all? Is it no? Okay. I'm going to do it anyways. I'm going to see what kind of
so
attention.
I think it's going to be really funny that, like foreign teachers
Yeah.
teach Jeju dialect
Yeah.
to, students on Jeju Island. So
yeah.
that's
Yes!
going to be cool.
That's fantastic.
That is actually very cool. I like
Yeah.
that. And actually, I think I'm going to put it on my board next week. I'm going to put it on my board and just be like, who knows what, like have like a little intro to class and just be like, who knows what this is, and see what education my kids have.
Yeah, Juyoung, can I get you to say it one more time as a complete phrase?
Okay. mondak soksum.
Perfect. That's great. Yeah, no, that's a really good phrase.
And with the finger, point. Yes.
Remember.
Yeah.
Juju, that's awesome. This is a really good one. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be using this one
With your child.
with my child.
Oh, on your dog.
On my dog
On
too.
your dog.
Yeah, he's Jeju though.
He's
from
Jeju.
here.
He'll
Yeah.
understand. He'll understand.
Oh, yeah, thanks. So I was thinking, like I am, I'm not sure what kind of sentence or expression to teach you guys.
Yeah.
Like I want to teach something very useful that you can use like in daily, like life. So maybe we ask the listeners
Sure.
or audience.
Absolutely.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So listeners.
Yeah, if you guys have anything that you'd like to learn how to say in Jeju Satori and Jeju dialect, you can let us know on Instagram, Facebook. You can email us at meyouandjeju@gmail.com.
There's a million ways to get a hold
You
of
can
us.
smoke signal if you're on the island. I'll see it. We'll get it. We'll
Yeah,
get
that's
it.
a good idea. Yeah, just to see what they would think would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And if you're in Jungmun and you have a suggestion, you can always go to the GS25 in Jungmun and let me know, or let the workers there know who are affiliated with this podcast.
Our sponsor.
Our sponsor.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, that's about all we have time for. Thank you so much again
Always
for coming on.
thank you.
This is great.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, that was another good lesson from Juju, hey?
Yeah, that was number 2 for her, and
Yeah.
she's batting 100%.
She is batting, I think 110% perhaps even.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
not to like throw crazy numbers out
Yeah.
there, but yeah.
Also
Yeah, that's
fake
fun.
baseball numbers, but sure.
I'm really excited to just see where this can go. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens and what we can learn. But for sure, I'm putting, wait for it, Mundak Soksu. She'll be listening to this and cringing, but
Yeah.
I'm putting this on the door on my whiteboard.
And also we'll be putting on Instagram, so you
Oh,
can
that's a
look
good
at the
call, yep.
phonetics and the Korean
And
spelling.
listen to it.
And listen to
Yeah.
how Ju Young actually pronounces it.
Not
so
us.
you can follow up correctly. Now, we've been talking a lot about haenyeo,
We have.
and I think
big part of the island.
I think we're going like. I always think that maybe we should not talk so much about it or try to find a way, because
That's so interesting.
it can't. Yes, but also I don't want to oversaturate oversaturate, because there's so much context about haenyeo. But I think
We're still gonna do it tonight anyway.
we're gonna do it anyways. But I think
Let's do it.
I have an interesting
Something interesting?
way to talk about it. So,
All right.
what would you say if I told you the haenyeo could be the key to saving people who are lost in the mountains from dying from hypothermia?
What? I would say what?
Okay, so you did get my question. That
Darryl
was-
said what?
Yeah. So what would you say if I told you the key,
Yeah.
haenyeo would be the key, could be a key to saving people from hypothermia?
At first, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Then I think, well, they dive all the time. So, yeah, but where the connection is, beats me.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I thought
Yeah,
too. So,
okay.
but
I mean,
the U.S.
Yeah.
military is interested in this,
Jesus.
right? And so the Office of Naval Research has recently awarded Seok, an associate professor at the University Washington in St. Louis, $500,000, $500,000 for a 3-year grant to investigate how heat from the human microbia may contribute to maintaining body temperature in cold environments. So, for those who don't know what the human microbia is,
I'm still stuck on what our military is doing with our money. Okay, sorry.
not
That's
my money.
great. My money as an American,
it's only $500,000.
I paid only $500,000.
Well,
I guess, but
American
still,
military, yeah.
So we can invade. Okay, let's just move on. Okay, keep going with this
Yeah,
story
right. So,
before I get
but
worked up.
the military is interested in the haenyeo.
Yeah, but that's
right?
cause of concern.
Right. So Moon he's a researcher of bacteria, which is
Okay.
the human microbiota. Microbiota is it's the bacteria that are on our body, on our skin,
Okay.
and in our stomach. And apparently,
Yeah.
60% of our skin cells are actually bacteria, which raises the question about who are we and what makes up a human if 60% of our body is actually bacteria.
This is a deep episode,
Oh,
but let's
super deep. Yeah. So he his end goal with this project, Professor Moon, is to create these microbiota, these bacteria.
Yeah.
So when the temperature drops, for them to produce heat. In order
Okay.
to prevent. Okay, so
Yeah. Okay. That's
It's
a
huge.
lot. That's a
Right.
lot. That's
So-
a big project.
it's a huge project, right?
I have
Because
so
what
many
he has
questions
to
that
do
I'm sure we can't answer.
is he needs to identify the mechanism in the bacteria that generates heat,
Submits the heat. Okay.
and then program it so when the temperature drops, it will exude like it will generate heat.
turn
Because
on.
heat is generally thought of as a waste product that
Yeah.
things make, right?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he wants to take that waste product and turn it into something
Useful.
that will prevent people from dying underwater.
Okay.
Now,
Jeez. Wow.
his end goal from that
Okay.
would be to create something like a skin block that you would put on your skin, which has this like microbia on it, that when you go in the water, it would activate and you would not be cold. You would not suffer from hypothermia, or if you're in the hiking, you could take a pill.
Sure.
This is the end goal.
Oh my God.
What does this have to do with haenyeo?
Well, they dive all year round. No, they make more. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out. They make
right.
more of this enzyme.
Well, the haenyeo were actually the inspiration for this project.
Okay.
Because he's Korean. He was from Seoul.
Okay.
And this is like the fact of the podcast, of all of our podcasts.
Oh, okay.
What would you say if I told you that haenyeo probably have bigger spleens than non-haenyeos?
Are spleens useful? Isn't that one of those things you can do without, or is that no? You need appendixes. You can do without.
Appendix you can do without.
Do we need our spleen?
Yeah, a
Oh,
spleen.
my bad.
Because research has shown that your spleen, divers have larger spleens because when they go under the water, it actually helps oxygenate their blood for longer, so it allows them to hold their breath for longer. And there was a professor who studied the spleens of like nomadic divers.
Living people?
Yeah, living like in Indonesia, where they are
Wow.
nomadic sea divers, and she discovered that their spleens are larger than their like land-dwelling people.
Can you imagine being smart enough to be a doctor and be like, you know what? I think there's something in the, like, can you imagine being smart enough to like have this idea and then be like, focus it in and be like, I'm going to go study some people. That's fascinating.
And so the idea, we don't know if it's true yet because no one's
okay,
researched.
so we don't know about the haenyeo.
We don't know if the haenyeo actually,
But
the
these other
theory-
people.
yeah, for sure, have been confirmed. So the theory is, and there needs
This
to
is
be more
probably
funding,
neat. Okay.
right? To check that the spleens of. So we were talking last week,
Yeah.
like haenyeo's a job, right? But also this job is having over generations affecting their
Changing.
evolution.
Which would make sense, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, right? I'm trying to
in
think of
general,
other
evolution. It
Yeah.
makes sense in my head. Then I think about it. I'm like, wow, that's wild. But yes, yeah.
So his theory
Okay.
is that
This is out there.
the microbia of
Okay.
haenyeo, because haenyeo have
Is
been dying for a
important.
long time, diving for a long time, and only recently with wetsuits. His
Yes,
theory is that
yes.
the microbia of Jeju haenyeo may also have evolved to help them be more susceptible, because we have a symbiotic relationship
Right.
with these bacteria.
How, is he here? Are the haenyeo letting him study them? Have we gotten that far in the?
That's I
that
asked
his
him
next
about
step?
that.
Yeah, okay. What-
that was what he wants to do next. First,
okay.
because he needs to first figure out how to where this
set it up.
mechanism
Yeah.
in the bacteria is that can
wild.
That generates heat, and then figure out a way how to get it to activate
Sure.
if in cold temperatures.
But doesn't he need to come and figure out is it?
The next step would be to see once he can figure out all that stuff,
Right.
then he can go out and see if haenyeo does have special microbia, bacteria on them.
Wild.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, really crazy.
He told me that this is the craziest idea that he's ever had.
Yeah, well, I'm right there with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, he's got the funding.
He's got funding.
Something about this must be ringing a bell in the science world, right? I mean, for me, it's all another language,
The
but
military is interested in it. That's who's
so
funding
that's
it.
a whole nother thing.
Well, the military. Well,
but still, obviously, there's something there.
there's definitely something.
Yeah.
Well, because the military is interested in it because of for lots of reasons.
I mean,
Obviously
rescue
for
too.
divers.
Let's not be like negative. I won't be negative. I'm sure for rescue too, but
I mean, there's also
Yeah.
engineers, right? You have
Sure.
the
That need to fix
the
things.
the military engineers, and if they are working in
true.
the Arctic, which is going to become a very important right now strategic
Yes.
zone.
Yes.
If a diver's suit gets ripped, that's the only
that's-
thermal protection they have.
Yeah, and that's it.
But if you put on this like goo that he developed, that is this
Did
microbia.
he call it goo, Darryl?
I
in
just
your
called
interview?
it goo. He
Alright,
said
just
something
curious.
like a sunblock. He said something like a
So-
sunblock.
Oh, literally goo.
Yeah, like a
Oh.
goo. You would put this on your body
Oh, I thought you were being okay.
an
Really a
hour
goo.
or like before you
and then you would
go.
use it.
and-
It's kind of like I might be pulling this out of thin air, but isn't this kind of like when people are doing their swimming across. What is the word for that? And don't they use like blubber or something to protect? Isn't that a thing? Did I just make that up? I'm pretty sure I did not make that up.
Well, I'm not familiar with it.
But it's kind of like the same thing where it's the protection in the ocean for like the long distances and the cold. And I think they were putting like a thing, you know, like a, Anyways, I'll look that up later in case I sound like an idiot.
But it's a fascinating
that's
project.
So,
again,
like to have the mindset.
I know.
You know?
I know.
How do you just even... And if he calls it a crazy idea, geez.
The craziest idea if you ever had. Yeah.
Well, so is there a timeline? Did he give you a timeline?
It's got 3 years, right, to do this
So
first part of the project.
bam,
After
bam,
that, then he would
to
like to go
renew.
to the haenyeo or, you know.
So 3 years now, and then maybe 3 years down the road, we'll
Exactly.
come to Jeju and explore that more.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll keep us updated
okay.
on it. I've spoken to him. I interviewed him, obviously, for this segment. And but now it's time to go talk to our interview, who's Mr. Brian Miller, a former, longtime resident of the island, a photographer.
Old friend of yours?
Old friend of mine, a chum of mine. And let's go to that now. Ladies and gentlemen, now with us is the wonderful, the handsome, the August photographer extraordinaire, Brian Miller. Thank you very much for being with us. A former longtime resident of Jeju. Cheers. Mm-hmm. You for the occasion you brought a bottle of soju.
Yes.
Chamisu. So how have you been? It's been a long time. For full disclosure, Brian and I would go way back. We used to, chum around the streets of Jeju City Hall back in the day. So we know each other quite well.
I'm sorry, I'm just going to interrupt here for 1 second.
Sure, go right
used
ahead.
to chum around the streets.
Chum.
If you wanted anything to make you sound like more of a grumpy old man, you're doing it, Darryl. You're doing it. You used to chum around the streets?
We did chum around the streets, and we were grumpy old men, though we were younger men then together.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
So, and the reason why we have Mr. Brian... What? Would you
grumpy old young men?
Yeah, grumpy old young men.
I like that. That's good.
Now, Brian Miller, as many people may, if you do not know of Brian Miller, you've probably seen his work because it's plastered everywhere online.
This is true.
And if you look up Jeju, chances are you might come across one of his pictures because for a very long time, and even still, you were kind of like the foreign or at least Western photographer of Jeju. Now, you have a new book coming up at some point when everything is finished and settled. It's going to be called Village Across the Street. I'd like to talk to you about this
Across
book.
the sea.
Across the sea? What did I say?
I don't know.
What did I say?
I don't know what you said, but you did
Village
say sea.
Across the Sea. Now, Brian, tell us a little bit about this photography book. What is it? What were you trying to achieve with it?
Well, some people might be familiar with like the original that was published, maybe 12 years ago.
Okay.
It's been a while. But that one was published through Jeju City Hall, and I never really liked it. Was never really happy with it.
Really? Okay.
For a number of reasons. It was something of a disappointment for me. But one reason was that it didn't really have any focus. And if you have a copy of that book, or you've seen a copy of it, it's massive.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this thick.
Oh,
It's like
geez,
it's
okay.
hundreds of pages. Hundreds of pages.
Okay.
It really lacked focus. And, I think with like photography collections or photo books, like less is more. You don't want to be throwing all of your photos into like a gallery or a photo book like that.
True.
So, and God, there was just stuff in there. Like I look at it now and I'm like, why did I put golf pictures in this Jeju book?
Why did you have 2 pictures of Darryl in there?
Because that's what the people wanted.
That's what
they asked for. I'm just giving them what they wanted.
So then the focus of this book is going to be what then? Obviously more streamlined.
Well, yeah, the thing is, a friend of mine actually contacted me a little while ago and was like, hey, I lost my copy of that book. Can I get another one? And I kind of just laughed and was like, oh, that awful book that I published. And I said, no, it's not available anymore. And so then I went I went to Joey Rositano, and I mentioned it to him. I was like, this guy asked me for this book. And he was like, yeah, there's still copies of that book at coffee shops around the island.
Yeah.
And people ask me like where to get it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, really? And he was like, yeah, you should maybe like republish it. And so I kind of got the wheels turning in my head. And so I went to work on putting together another book. But the difference now is that I've been gone from Jeju for like 10 years. So I have a totally different mindset now.
Oh.
And my memories of Jeju and everything, like I'm very nostalgic about my time there.
Uh-huh.
And so this book is much more of a mood than that last book. The last book was like,
That's a cool way to say that, Brian. That's really cool. It's much more of a mood. Yeah.
The last book was like an encyclopedia, but this it's a much more nostalgic look at Jeju. And we got Brett to do the intro.
Brett Crehan,
Yeah,
former writer,
yeah.
Jeju resident.
Really good writer. He basically just wrote this like really beautiful essay about how he felt about the island.
Oh,
And
nice.
I sort of like cut it up and made part of it the foreword and part of it like the conclusion. And then Joey Rositano, who's a filmmaker, and he's done a lot of work with shamans on the island. He went and like interviewed a bunch of like shamans and local people about shamanism on the island, and so the quotes are there in the book. And Darryl contributed also.
Nice.
I did.
Darryl wrote a really nice story. So yeah, it's just a much more emotional, nostalgic look at Jeju.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So I'm a lot happier with this one.
Good.
Do you have like a couple favorite photos that you'd like to from the book?
They're all his favorite, Darryl.
Yeah, every single one. They're all your babies.
Well, the haenyeo photos are all favorites, obviously.
Yeah.
But there's one series of photos about an animal sacrifice during a shamanism ceremony that's kind of it means something to me because like it was so difficult, to shoot shamans because sometimes they're not so welcoming to outsiders. It's a very culture there. So shooting shamanistic ceremonies, the Coote, was difficult. And I had tried to photograph this particular ceremony where they sacrificed a chicken. And I was turned away. They told me to leave. But, like that, I eventually did photograph it. And what it meant to me was that like, all the hard work trying to like build connections with the shamanistic community, ingratiating myself with those people, that it really paid off,
Nice.
So it's kind of the satisfaction of like taking those photos.
Yeah.
I have to tell you that some of my best memories on the island are the times that we did stuff together for work, like going to get photos, or like when we went to the even though the pictures are not in there anymore, the golf stories we went and did, or one of the best stories was, and the most interesting thing was going to try to find the shamans, the shrines on Jeju. A couple of times. It's fantastic because they're everywhere. They're in towns and they're really like sometimes they're right in front of you.
Right in front of you and you don't know. I went with Joey a few times. Yeah, that he took me around and saw. It's really cool.
Yeah, and when we were there, like, when I was there, they weren't mapped out. Like people didn't know how many shrines there were or where they were.
Right.
So a friend of mine named Jung-hee, she was part of a group of people, historians, that were going around the island and like trying to map out where the shrines were. So, when me and Darryl were with her, like she was, like talking to people on the street, like asking them like where this particular shrine was, blah, 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 blah. When we found it, she would like take down GPS location.
Wow.
And like mark down like what it was and why that shrine existed, like what god it was built for.
Brian, how long ago was that? Like, do you got a year? No, hard. It's a
decade
it's all
ago.
blurred. It was a long time ago, but yeah.
Yeah, like speaking to Joey, like I guess like now all that work has been done. Like everybody knows all the shrines are. So I feel really fortunate that I had that experience. That's sort of like Indiana Jones experience, like trudging through Jeju, looking for signs that had been forgotten.
Well, when you say that everybody knows where it is, Brian, this has been now published?
Yeah, they finished their work a while ago.
Well,
I'm getting so old.
Join the club.
the former name of his book was The Island of 18,000 Gods, was it not?
Oh.
Yeah, that was a working title.
Yeah, because the island, each village has 2 gods.
Got a good memory, Brian. Each village has 2 gods, right?
And they're married, or husband and wife, or man and woman sometimes. And the stories about them, like I remember going to one where like the gods had gotten divorced, and one of them was kicked out of the other tree and was like halfway across the town. It's at the mini land. It's the one that's inside mini land.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say about that.
They made an amusement park around a shrine.
And so is the shrine still standing?
It's a tree inside, and
they did not cut the tree down.
the town wouldn't let them. But
Good, because you know how many Joey took me around. You know how many shrines have been paved over for literally parking lots. It reminds me of that song, "Put Up a Parking Lot." Yeah. Anyways, he was steaming about some
I'm
things.
sure.
He would take me and be like just angry. I think. Yeah.
Now, are you still shooting in Japan? I'm assuming you still shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because of the pandemic, I can't do what I really want to do. I have been shooting like heavy metal and punk concerts here.
Wait, what kind of? Sorry, what?
Heavy metal and punk concerts.
Oh, I like you so much.
That was a big thing. He loves heavy metal, and he would shoot them as often as he could down here.
Very cool. Yeah, I try to do as many. Back when I first moved here, I really try to get the music scene going here. It was a lost effort at some point, but I really did a lot of festivals and stuff. So yeah, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So Darryl was saying that you were also. Is there something about like Japanese divers? Are you? Is that a project you're doing?
Yeah, I've been photographing that. They're called AMA here.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been photographing them for a number of years, but because of the pandemic, I can't really do that right now.
Can you explain what the difference between is there a difference between shooting the AMA and shooting the haenyeo?
It's largely the same. It's basically the same job. There are some differences. Just in the way it's organized and in practice. Like there's a way of diving here. Like a husband and wife will go out in a boat, and the boat will have a kind of like pulley system on it.
Oh.
And the ama, the haenyeo, the female diver, will have like these heavy weights on her wetsuit, and she'll be attached to this pulley system, and then she'll go down in the water, and the weights will carry her down to the bottom of the ocean. And then, she'll gather up whatever she can. And then the husband will like reel her back in.
That sounds really dangerous.
I'm fascinated. Geez. Wow. I have never. Okay then. Yeah. And are they really, sorry, go ahead. Are they as old as, not as old, is this a tradition that goes back as far as the haenyeo go? Do you know that? Or okay.
It's been with Japan for a long time. Actually, it was in Taiwan.
Okay.
A few years ago, like photographing haenyeo in Taiwan. So that's a very different situation there.
Okay.
It's really interesting. So it's not just like, I don't think when Koreans realize like they think the haenyeo are just haenyeo and that's it, and they think you were here. They promote them like they're like next to gods. How important the haenyeo and the haenyeo culture is. And
well, as an American, I definitely have never before moving to Jeju. It was nothing I experienced. So you even just saying you were in, do you say Taiwan?
Yeah, Taiwan.
Yeah, that they have their own. I mean, that's all news to me.
I wonder if they're related in any way, like, or if it's just like a different, or if it's just because I know that Jeju haenyeo have also gone to Japan,
Russia,
and other places to do that too.
I would love to go to Russia and try to find haenyeo.
That would be really cool.
The divers in Taiwan are called haenyeo, which is very similar sounding.
Very similar. Yeah.
That's really interesting.
But if you talk to people in Taiwan, like I interviewed the directors of a museum in this small town where like several of the haenyeo are located. If you talk to those people, they'll tell you that like it all originated in China.
Of course.
Yes.
Like every country where like these women divers appear, like they will tell you like, oh, it started here. Like we're the originators. Like,
Right.
It's the Amar from, but I've always been really curious about where it all started because I never really heard like a really convincing explanation for why women dive and not men, or why it's such a big part of the culture. But the directors of this museum told me something really interesting. They said like in China, women are considered bad luck to boats because of their menstruation. Like the menstrual cycles may make boats unlucky.
Yeah.
So for that reason, women are not allowed in the boats, or in the past they were not allowed in the boats, and that's why they were diving while the men were on the boats fishing.
Is that why the men kept them on these lures off the boat? Or
Keep them away. Keep them away.
That's a pretty good explanation. Like all the other explanations I've heard for why women dive and not men, like because they have this special
Body
kind of
type.
fat.
Yeah.
And that never really seemed convincing to me.
Oh, I was like, well, as a female, I do have this special kind of fat. Yeah.
Well, Jeju had to do with more with like the taxation issues,
To
right?
avoid,
like men were taxed for fishing and women weren't, which is one of the reasons why women really took off, because it used to be a more man profession,
right?
And that's why the men wait and help the women once they get out. Like they were literally just waiting by the seashore to help them with stuff.
Well, Brian Miller, having you just finished saying all that thing, have you not ever thought about making a book about the women divers, just solely? Like, even if it was just the 3 that you filmed, wouldn't that be cool?
That's sort of my life's work.
Yes, that would be really cool.
I've been photographing haenyeo for, just 15 years. Is it 20? I don't know.
Let's go with 20.
Yeah,
it sounds good.
But what is it about the haenyeo? Why these female divers? Because we talk about the haenyeo a lot on the show. And we have issues with the exotification of them and people who treat them as more than like people and more as a profession.
Jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a job.
And you don't do that, obviously. I've seen your work and been around you a lot. But what is it about the haenyeo or about these female divers everywhere in the world that makes you compelled to want to work and create a work out of them?
Well, I shoot a lot of things, but when I'm shooting haenyeo or ama or haenyeo, I feel like what I'm doing is really important, both because it's part of human culture that's kind of disappearing, and I feel like when I'm photographing them, I'm helping to record this culture that's not going to last. It's not going to be here forever. So there's that. But also, I just really love being on the ocean. Like the ocean, it's always fascinating to me. Like I love being out there.
No, your pictures of haenyeo are like they're stupendous. Yeah.
Thank you.
They used to don the walls. They may still. I haven't been to Baghdad in years.
Well, I was actually going to bring that up. Like for all of our listeners, obviously most of our listeners now are kind of the newer generation of Jeju. But for anyone wondering his work, you could go to Baghdad, the Indian restaurant in City Hall, and your work is still up there. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, you do take really phenomenal portraits. Yeah, really, really amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, before we go, I did want to talk a little bit about Brian, Mr. Miller. You did live on the island for a while and decided to leave. And I think there's a lot of people who can actually relate to you, like I could, about maybe some of the reasons why you decided to leave the island. Could you get into some of the frustrations that you had while you were here?
Well, just the sort of general things like the visa situation. Like I didn't feel like I could make money doing the things that I wanted to do, like photography, like legally. And I never really felt comfortable with like, I don't know, being paid under the table for the work that I was doing, or
Absolutely.
So there was that, but honestly, it was just the fact that like all my friends left, and things changed, and it just wasn't the same anymore.
I get that. I get the whole, like, it's not the same as it was
100%
when we got here. It's amazing how quickly everything changed. Geckos has been gone since when you took it with you. It left around then.
No, I think I partied there a few times. So it hung on to its last threads and then it disappeared. Yeah.
Those were great times.
Those were great times.
Even for me, those were great times. Do you remember, like, I don't know what your guys' times, but after the Jeju United games, all the footy players would come out, and the coach, you remember Silver Fox?
Yeah.
He would come, he would hang out, and we would just be drinking with the players and hanging out at this bar. It was fun.
Yeah.
And again, I get nostalgic about that tent in Jeju. Like, right there it was. There it was.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Because like the issue I always found was the lack of, there's no political opportunity or political agency you had. You couldn't do anything. You had no effect upon anything, which I always felt was very frustrating.
It is.
Which is why one of the reasons why I left is because I couldn't feel like I could do my work the way I wanted to do it here. And that's why I kind of went to Canada to become a reporter there for a couple of years, because I just felt kind of neutered. My wings clipped. Another cliche.
I can see that.
You know?
I can see that.
I do want to go back to Jeju and like take more photos of haenyeo, more photos of shamans and things like that. Like there's a lot of interest there, but when you're living there, like you're kind of limited by like the visa, but also like 100%. What you said, like you're treated a certain way there, You're treated as like, I don't know, they expect you to, I don't know, say nice things about the island and promote the island.
Yes.
So I guess you're just more of a promotional tool.
Agreed.
And I didn't really feel comfortable.
Agreed. Especially 10 years ago. I think maybe a lot of new people here might not relate to that so much, but 100%, 110%, all of us that have been here a long time, everyone listening is probably nodding their head. Yeah, it is much different. And you were just a face that they wanted you to smile and be like, oh, this food.
Yeah.
It's
funny.
We've all experienced that.
I've been in a commercial like that.
I'm sure you.
I've been in a commercial where I was told to go to a sashimi restaurant.
Yeah.
And we had to eat it. And
the best.
People can't see me if they're just listening to it, but a very
Thumbs
enthusiastic face of food enjoyment going on right there. And
Brian, since you've been gone about a decade, have you been back to Jeju since?
Yeah, I went a couple of years ago.
You did? Nice.
Yeah.
Were you completely shocked? Because I am always shocked, and I haven't left for 9-10 years. So I will drive to an area, and I'm like, damn, like my memories are still there, but it's such a different island.
Yeah, I mean, a lot's changed, but as much as things change,
they stay the same.
Stay the same. Yeah.
Fair enough. How long, if you don't mind me asking, your last visit? I'm just curious for personal reasons. How long was your stay when you came here?
I think a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, nice. Good for you.
I had a photo gallery at a museum here in Japan, and the owner of that museum actually knew the head of a fishing village in Jeju.
Oh, cool.
And so he connected me to him, and went and took pictures of haenyeo for a few days. Yeah, it was really nice.
Hell yeah, man. That's very cool.
So, if our listeners would like to get in touch with you or look at some of your work, follow your work, where can people get a hold of you?
I have a website at baraka.zenfolio.com.
Okay.
So they can see my photos there.
Do you do Insta?
No.
That's a no. People, your face.
Yeah, that was a resounding no.
I was like, no, I definitely don't do that. Thanks, though.
Yeah, I'll put in the liner notes of the episode and how to get a hold of you and your website to go look at your fabulous work. And hopefully the village across the sea. Hopefully it'll be up. This
is not the official book, people, but this is like a little taste of it. Yeah.
And a copy.
Ooh. Both of us are like, ooh.
That is much nicer looking.
I can already tell, like, it's so shiny on the cover. Yeah.
And when it comes up, we'll make sure to like direct people to
Yes.
it, show them where
Like
it
where
is.
they can buy it. Are you will be like shipping internationally in the whole 9 yards?
Yeah, the plan is to have it on Amazon. So
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you
love
so
it.
much for being with us, Brian. It's been great to
thanks for having me.
chit chat again.
And cheers. Nice
Yeah,
to meet
cheers.
you, Brian. Cheers.
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 Come
We'll have you on again soon. Thank you. So I'd like to thank Brian Miller again. Thank you very much for coming on. It was really good to talk to you again.
Hey, he's a cool guy, huh?
Very cool guy. Well,
Yeah.
he's my buddy. He's my
Oh,
friend.
Jesus.
All my
I
friends are
can't-
cool
okay.
guys. And ladies and people. All of them. Every single one.
Grumpy.
Not one is uncool. Confirmed.
All right, bunch of grumpies. I love that we did the video recording and he's drinking Jeju soju. That made my night. That's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. He must have been fun to hang out with.
It was great.
Yeah.
So many good times. So many good
Yeah,
times.
I have some. Yeah, the past was so much better than.
The past.
know, the
We
past.
now you sound like the grumpy old
I know, right?
man. You
But
know,
we
but
had
nostalgic
such
for
good
the
time.
past.
Yeah, I guess nostalgia. But I mean, that was the interview.
Yeah.
He was very nostalgic, talking about the book,
book
and like,
is
yeah. So
nostalgic,
I'm
right.
really excited to get my hands on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah.
I'd
Because
like to see
if
the
that
final
sample
product.
book that we kind of showed you guys as the audience, if that's like, I mean, that was incredible. So if that's not even the finished project,
It's great.
Really
yeah.
interesting, yeah.
So I'll let everybody know when that book's available
Yeah,
and where
yeah.
you guys can get it. That's been another episode.
episode 12.
Episode 12 is in the books.
And
now,
we have more music.
Yes, now
I'm
we do.
loving this part of our podcast.
Yeah.
I love it.
the ending song for this week is called Mom Nags by the Jeju-based rock group Banana Moon. The band explores what?
Well, should we also say before we dive into them, let's say Jason Lisco for the
Intro music.
for our intro music and amazing talent, and Sarah Hodgkiss for our beautiful artwork, and then we're gonna go out with Mom Nags.
Mom Nags by Banana Moon. The band explores the past through with its eyes pointed to the future. And the song we're about to
They're
play
a
for
fun
you.
band.
Yeah, it not
Fun.
only slaps. That's what the kids say, right?
You
Slaps.
stop with this.
It's not only slaps, but it doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah.
And the music video for
Yeah,
it
yeah.
will be found in like the description of this episode.
Yeah,
which
we'll
you
post-
have
we'll
to,
post the video.
have
It's
to-
funny.
Yeah. So without further ado, here's Mom Nags.
Mama, please stop nagging me. I'm not speech anymore. You know I can do every single law.